We have no official representatives here, do we? So we are friends, usually how we call each other. Dear friends of Earth Day, I'm really amazed that you have chosen to come here today, although this is just, as we say every year, an event in its infancy. Now the infancy or the pregnancy of Earth Day lasts quite long, 45 years internationally and 17 years here in Vienna. We observe this tradition, we ring the peace bell each year, and each year we sit together and say, okay, next year it's going to be the real big thing, because this day has a purpose. This day has the purpose to bring people together who think that we have to think outside the box of cultures, national states, of military blocks, of economic blocks, because we have only one Earth to share, and this is the strongest fact that we know. So I'm really happy that so many people came here nevertheless. Please, this is a beginning, and please think about how we can make every day Earth Day, and how can we make this celebration something that is not just a ritual but a real encounter, because this is what it's meant to be. And I think we should just spread afterwards, but sit a little bit together wherever, maybe inside or over there. Peter will guide us. He's the insider here. I will say a few words, and then Tom will make a few strokes on the drum with a little song that is quite appropriate. Yeah, and as I wrote, many of you might have read it, today is also supposed to be the International Day of Happiness. We wanted to closely connect these two subjects. You know that Earth Day originally was meant to be on the spring equinox, but out of pragmatical reasons, lots of people decided to do an Earth Day on the 22nd. So United Nations was in a difficult position. Which day is Earth Day? And eventually they tried to forget and downplay this, our Earth Day here. But there are many people who think that this is the appropriate day. This is the appropriate date because it's not set by any particular culture. I have to just mute this. Yeah. But recently they put
Earth is calling.
Eventually they decided to put another event on this spring equinox. It was called the International Day of Happiness. And I think this is not a bad thing, because it's a natural match. The International Day of Happiness the idea that happiness is what counts, comes from Bhutan. And the idea of gross national happiness that they declared could easily be translated into gross global happiness. We should thereby measure our progress as societies not in the amount of money that we earn or spend. This is really the purpose, to say gross national happiness instead of gross national product. Money is also earned for things like war and weapons, for wear and wastage. So instead of money, progress should rather be measured by the real enjoyment of life. And John McConnell would have loved this coincidence. His Earth Day vision meant that we all are meant to share the immense bounties of this planet, and that Earth could be like a loving mother if we learn not only to respect her, but if we care for this planet as a commons together. So maybe the difference, Earth is not just the environment, It's not just an environmental day what we want to celebrate. It's a day of togetherness. It's a day of unification between cultures. It's a day of common goals and of a common base of life. And our planet is not there to be not touched by us. Human beings are the stewards. As John said, we are the trustees of this global company Earth. And we can create life in a much more meaningful way if we don't act against each other. So, what now in these past weeks and months? What have we experienced? It seems that the political disruptions and confrontations have grown to dimensions which render the dream of global happiness, peace, justice and care for the earth small and irrelevant. It is not the first time that we come to the peace bell while actual or potential belligerent violence is having its heyday. I remember in 2003, we were there in the entrance hall, we looked at the TV screens and the bombs were falling on Baghdad. And we said, what are we doing here? Is the vision of a planet on which people, nations, religions live together in an integrated manner, understand their mutual dependencies and work for common good a merely utopian dream? Are people and nations increasingly falling again into the trap of the one against the other thinking? Are they bound to be trapped in entirely different perceptions of reality that cannot be bridged or connected anymore? Do we still need to refuge to particularities, to those values, those leaders, those powers that pretend to protect us one against the other, but in the end protect nothing else but their own power? In these days, that is how it seems. We are confronted again with an enormous drawback for all who desire global unity in diversity and the end of violence. The situation seems awkward. How do we find common ground to understand that there are bigger issues that affect the future of all of us? This is maybe where Earth Day comes in. Please remember, it's not a political movement. It refuses to attack or accuse. It does not promote an agenda. It is simply a sign, a gesture, soft but clear. A sign that can be given from any point, angle or perspective. A sign that there is something that surpasses all national pride, all cultural affiliation, all groupthink. The outer shell of our existence holds us all together. And we better understand that it really connects us. And that it is the potential source of unending happiness, if we just realize that. That is what makes us come here. That's why we ring the bell. Because we want that message to be heard. Thank you. What time is it now? 41. So time for a little Mother Earth drumming.
Can you hear my heartbeat, heartbeat, heartbeat? Can you hear my heartbeat, heartbeat, heartbeat? Mother, Mother Earth, Earth. Mother, Mother Earth, Earth. Can you hear my drum beats, drum beats, drum beats? Can you hear my drum beats, drum beats, drum beats? Mother, Mother Earth, Earth. Mother, Mother Earth, Earth. Can you hear my footstep, footstep, footstep? Can you hear feet stamp, feet stamp, feet stamp?
why do we ring the peace bell between 5:50 and 6 p.m. today? It could be at another year, 3:58 in the morning. We have done things already at that time. It is a simple astronomical fact that we are celebrating. The Earth is in this direction, is crossing in this moment the celestial equator. So it's going from the southern to the northern hemisphere. So this, as John McConnell said, is not only wonderful because this is a moment that all human cultures have in common, because it is not dependent on any particular culture. It is a scientific fact. But also because we are able to recognize a scientific fact. He also thought of Earth Day as the day of celebration of our abilities. And this is something wonderful. He did not think man should be ashamed of his or her, woman, of her abilities. We have the abilities to measure time and space. We have the ability to be conscient. And if we want to reconciliate with this planet, this is our gift. Our gift is foresight. Our gift is looking into the future, looking into timing and interrelatedness. So this is the second reason why I think this is an appropriate ceremony. And now I think we are approaching 5:50 somehow. What is 6? So we have some moments of casual silence, but I would like to ask you to pair in groups of 2, and as we introduced here, everybody should have the chance to ring the peace bell. Please don't be too harsh on the peace bell. In the year 2003, when there was that ugly war in Iraq, the chain broke. Yes. And we had somebody in our group had a belt, and we fixed the peace bell with the belt of a dear friend of us who is not with us today. So the belt was 1 week later. The chain was repaired. Yeah, it's a little bit dangerous. So Yuko is always, because she's Japanese, she's really, really courageous with the bell. So she will also make it. Yes, and of course she does on the 8th of August also peace bell ringing, and I think this year it will also happen. And we want to make a circle of ceremonies around the year to celebrate these ideas of peace and global unity. So I think we come from this side. Slowly, slowly, please find your partner, and in 1 or 2 minutes we start to ring the bell.
beat.